Hey peoples, this is another movie review of Horse Girl on Netflix. Now ultimately this movie ends up being dissatisfying, but I'm going to start off with the positives because I can knock those out really quick and then just head into the real problem of the movie. So positives, the acting. I think everyone in here does a solid job, specifically Alison Brie. She is awesome. I love her in everything she's in and she's great here. Also, I want to point out John Paul Reynolds. Why is he not in more things? The dude is a natural. He should just be in more things. Please put this man in more things. The directing overall is good, I want to say. It's spotty, but that mostly has to do with the story, which I'll get to in a moment. But I love a lot of the imagery, even though I didn't fully understand all of the imagery, which again is a story issue. This movie does a great job with tone and just the feeling of it. I felt uncomfortable a lot of the times, and I know the movie did this on purpose, but they really capture that just eerie, like you feel awkward for certain characters. It just makes your skin crawl. They execute that perfectly in this film, and what helps them do that is the music. The music in this movie fits perfectly. It's very eerie, it's very odd. I love the drums in this movie, specifically when it connects to mental instability. It really reminded me a lot of Birdman, which had a lot of drums, and that movie was about that man's mental and how he wasn't fully connected with the world, so he was always in his mind. So I really like how they had the drums in this movie as well. And lastly, there are moments of great dialogue in this movie. Some of it is very humorous and you enjoy those scenes, but those are mostly near the beginning, but I really enjoyed them. But that's pretty much all of my good in regards to this film. Now let's head into the problematic section, which is the story. So the main problem with the story is that it feels like it's not fully baked, and at a certain point it kind of feels like they just give up. Now when the movie starts off, it feels like it really doesn't have a direction. You're just trying to figure out what's going on. And the movie is just slowly meandering on. And you know, when you go into a movie, you can pretty much predict where it's going to go. Even if you don't do it naturally, your subconscious is like, okay, if it's a romantic comedy, eventually these people will end up together. Maybe they don't like each other at first, or maybe they're friends, but eventually they'll end up together. If it's an action movie, okay, this person is going to fight this person, and then they're going to fight a big baddie, and then maybe it's revenge for their family, and they'll get their family member back. So in this movie, you go in and you're just like, okay, so what's the purpose, what's going on, and the movie doesn't make that clear for you when it starts out. But eventually the movie does hint to you what it's about, and it's like, okay, so here's the path we're going on, but there's not really a gradual progression to this section. They're just like, here's what the movie's about, and this is our character, and maybe they're having some mental issues, and then full on, bam, yes, they're having mental issues, yes, maybe they're crazy, or maybe they're not crazy, and look, they're just acting weird and things are happening to them, and it doesn't stay in that middle section long. It feels like the movie just races to the end and then it's over. And at the end of it all, it feels like all of the questions that the movie gave you did not come with answers. Now, unfortunately, I can't talk about the plot because all of it's kind of connected and it would be a spoiler. But overall, we're dealing with a character who is possibly dealing with mental issues, but also possibly dealing with paranormal things. And so the movie is going back and forth with those two possibilities. And it doesn't really explain or go deeply into either one. And it all feels just empty at certain points. And that was pretty much my overall issue with the film. There are other small things like a random flashback that doesn't seem pretty clear. The fact that the movie is called Horse Girl and they don't fully explain the situation in regarding our main character and a horse, which is that she's at a facility that teaches you how to ride horses, but she's not riding them anymore. And we don't get the whole story as in why she's not riding horses anymore. Also near the end, there's a lot of imagery that you believe is all in the character's mind. Some of it makes sense, some of it just feels random, and the movie doesn't fully explain all of it. There is a therapist in the movie for a short amount of time, and I wish they would have utilized that therapist more to just explain certain things to the audience. Our character is seeing certain things. It would have been nice if the character was talking to the therapist and the therapist said, oh, that might mean this, just to clue the audience in, just to explain to us what she's seeing. And not just copping out and saying, oh, well, that might be the paranormal instead of her mentality issues. But that's what this movie does. It feels like it just takes the easy route and it's not giving you a fully baked story and you just feel dissatisfied at the end. But to end on a positive, there is a section at the beginning of this movie that has to do with our main character, her roommate's boyfriend, and then his friend. They have a whole conversation about a baker's dozen. That part was humorous, and that was probably my favorite scene in the whole film. You can actually go watch that scene and nothing else because I don't think the rest of this movie is worth watching. I wouldn't say it's completely bad because it has some good things in it, it just doesn't feel fully baked. But that's all, peoples. Thank you for listening. Thank you to the people that have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please consider it. That really would mean a lot to me. And then we can talk in the comments about these movies. That's always fun. Please continue to have a great day. God bless. I'll talk to you later.